Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building. He's a writer, an actor. We have Malcolm Mays in the building. Good morning.
Good morning.
How's it going?
Blessed.
Now, for most people that don't know who you are, right now you're currently in Raising Kanan.
I am. Hey, could I ask you a special favor?
You can, sure.
I lost my godfather today. I'm supposed to be at his funeral. I came here to be with y'all instead because I think that's what he would have wanted. His name was T. Rogers. He started a gang in Los Angeles called Black Peace Stones.
Talk a little louder so they can hear you.
My bad. Yeah, he started a gang in Los Angeles called Black Peace Stones, and then he became a gang activist later on in life. And without him, I probably wouldn't be here because he protected me and my family when we moved to that neighborhood. And I just wanted to take 5 seconds to honor him, if that's all right with y'all.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I can't believe that you're missing the funeral.
I didn't want to. They told me I couldn't go. I had to go to work. We still shooting right now, so. Yeah.
Well, I am so sorry to hear that.
No,
My
it's
condolences
all right.
to your family. Honestly, it's a tough time.
Oh man, but he would have loved me being here. So he loved y'all show, you know.
Oh, well, that's
That's
a
what it
beautiful
is.
thing to hear.
So of course you're in Raising Kanan right now. So let's start from the beginning. Who is Malcolm Mays? Where did Malcolm Mays come from? How did you get into this industry? How did you become an actor and a writer?
You have
So let's start from the beginning.
You have a very unique story.
Damn, that's dense. What time is it? I'm from Los Angeles, California. I was raised all over LA. South Central's home. And yeah, man, I guess, how did I get into this? My mother trying to keep me out of fucking trouble, out the trenches and shit. And her ideal situation for me was to like be busy so I wouldn't notice what was happening. And so she just put me in a bunch of shit, and I gravitated towards art. I played sports and all that too. So
And people in the neighborhood were very supportive of you in this career, right?
Oh yeah, that's like, man, Baldwin Village. Like even when I was like in Torrance, everywhere I moved in LA, honestly, everybody kind of looked out for me. Like T especially, they saw me, and you know, we'd be running around the hood doing what we doing, and my big homies was healthy. Like they weren't toxic big homies. They was like, you gonna run the fade if you're not in class. Yeah. So we was still out here, but there was a code and there was a structure in my hood. It's really different than any other.
Tell the story of you in class and you get a phone call.
Oh, from John. Rest in peace. Damn, all the homies dead. John Singleton.
So you're in class. What class are you in right now? What class was this?
That might have been in Speaks homeroom. Like I might have been in homeroom.
And when you were what grade were you in?
I was in 10th grade at Dorsey High School.
You in homeroom class, your phone rings.
DDP for life. Yeah,
you
my
pick
phone
up the
rings.
phone, F your teacher, you pick up the phone. Go ahead. Now break it down.
How had a story. Yeah, so I was in class at Dorsey High School. It's one of the most notorious high schools in Los Angeles at the time. And so we ran the classroom. Like teachers didn't do shit. So at some point I got a phone call. So I picked up the phone call in class.
Teacher's teaching during class and you're like, teacher, hold on, hold on.
It's public school. Are they teaching? I'm just kidding.
All right.
No, I'm just kidding. No, they were. Actually, I love my school. But I picked up because, you know, I was larger than life at that point.
Did you tell the teacher, hold on, when you picked
up
the
the phone? Yeah, well, I told him hold on when he tried, because our teachers were hood niggas too. So he was like, nigga, get off the phone. I was like, hold on, this might be really important. Because at the time I was working at Sony Pictures and doing a bunch of shit while living in the hood. So I picked up the phone and it was like, hey man, this is John. I'm like, nigga, I'm in class. Stop playing with me. I thought it was my cousin. Because he would call and fuck with me. And so I was like, man, get off my phone. Peace. So I hung up.
So you hung up on John Singleton.
On John Singleton at 16 years old in the middle of the homeroom. And then he called back again. And he's like, nigga, this is John Singleton and I'll fight you too. He's like, stay on the fucking phone. Stop playing with me. And I was like, oh shit, I'm so sorry. The bass left my voice. I'm sorry, Mr. Singleton. I didn't realize it was you, my cousin. He's like, look, I want you to come meet me at a Skirball Museum and watch a film, bring your family, whatever, because I'm interested in meeting you.
How did he get introduced to you? How did he know who you were, and how did he make that phone call? What impression did you leave out there that made him want to call?
Actually, it was this old white dude named Gary Martin, because at a studio there's 3 heads. There's the creative head of like development, and that was Amy Linton at the time, and then there's the president, which is Michael Linton and Amy Pascal, and then there's the head of physical production who tells people, nigga, this is how much it's gonna cost. And so he's kind of like the secret third boss of the whole Sony Pictures, and I was working at Sony Pictures at the time.
What were you doing at Sony Pictures?
Working under the head of physical production at 15.
Was it interning, or was they paying, or?
No, they was paying.
Okay.
I had a full check. Like,
full check.
I started off interning for someone else, and then he ended up catching me. Gary.
All this at 10th grade, before 10th grade.
That happened in 9th grade, but yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was wild. So yeah, I would take the bus from the hood all the way back to Culver City on down Jefferson. Shout out to LA. And so he put John on. Like I remember when John first had his first movie, he gave John his first offices at Sony Pictures in Columbia TriStar building. So he was like, you remind me of somebody. And I was like, who? He's like, I'm gonna introduce you to him one day, don't trip. And he didn't tell me that it was John Singleton. So one day he kept bugging John. John would be like, nah, fuck that kid. Nobody's me, because John's ego was massive, and as it should have been. And one day I got into the New York Times. I was from the New York Times. He was like, oh, I better talk to this kid for this nigga blow up and then hate on me. So he called, and that's how we connected. It was because of Gary Martin. Shout out to him.
Isn't it amazing how when you're young you can be so fearless about things?
Oh, yeah.
Because people will tell you there's like a certain method and a way that you have to get to a position. But for you were young just thinking like, I'm going to write this movie and
it's the luxury of ignorance, right? Like you superhuman. Like especially where I was from, like niggas was dying since I was 13. So like that's death. Once the most extreme thing that can happen to you is your friend dying in your arms at 11 years old, then everything else becomes like Hollywood, movies. I don't give a fuck about Reese Witherspoon. As talented as she is, she's a human being. I just like your movies. Like, I just fuck with your shit. Like, and I think people kind of attract to that. I mean, that's probably why people fuck with y'all. It's probably why it's an institution, because it's just regular. You feel me? And it's an extraordinary circumstance with ordinary people. You feel me?
Like
So,
you said, at age 11, a friend died in your arms.
Yeah. I had a homeboy get shot right in front of me.
What happened?
I don't-
And the reason I ask is because it's like, for most people when they hear L.A., all they think of is boys in the hood.
Yeah.
Poetic justice, and there's so much gang violence. How were you able to stay out of that gang mentality and that gang?
Oh, my family, dog. I come from a traditionalist Southern family. My family, interestingly enough, is it's a strange situation because my uncle Stanley Tookie Williams. So the origination, the Audubon Gorge of modern day gangbanging came from him and a man named Raymond Washington. So people think that my family's this ghetto hood ass family, but in real life, like my grandmother's a Southern Baptist. She's a Bible thumper. My mama is an educated woman. Like she was the first to get her master's and all that other shit. We just happened to grow up in a situation where there were dire straits at some point. I think up to 8 we was like heading towards like middle class and shit, and it was cool. My pops was around, and then shit took a left. But they were, my mother and my grandmother are everything, bro. They the reason, because they never let my circumstance and our externals dictate our internal. I didn't even know I was broke until I went to school with white kids. Like I had no idea. Like my mama tricked me into thinking Barnes & Noble was the spot, my nigga. Like that was, you getting a new book, yo, you popping. Like she tricked me. And I didn't know later that like, oh, clothes is important to kids, and like females like when your hair cut and shit. Like that was later.
That's funny. That's so true when you're young, because I was the same. Like you don't know that your neighborhood is not a quote good neighborhood until you leave your neighborhood.
Exactly.
But then you're like, wow, there's all the, because I went to public school and then I went to private school in 7th grade, and I was like. So
my experience was the opposite, because I had a 2-parent household that was consistent for until like 8 years old, 9 years old, and shit got rocky. Not nobody business. But when things changed, we shifted. Like we were always in like a black neighborhood, like West Adams District, shit like that. And then things changed. And so I wasn't going to an integrated school anymore. I was going to the hood school that all my homies had already been going to since they was kids. But I had the foundation of like an education from a higher tax bracket. So I was still a hood nigga, but like my how to learn, I had learned from a very expensive place. So I had that with me, and it showed me very early on that like, oh, I was privileged, even though because like
you still live in the hood,
right? But you have other experiences, and some of my homies had never been to the beach until like our senior ditch day, or like.
So
and
you've seen everything. So you seen the better lunch, the better books.
Yeah.
Now wait a second, senior ditch day. So that was like official, or is that something y'all?
Oh no, that's a real thing. Like like we.
It's not official. I mean, the school doesn't say.
No.
But the school knows, obviously, if no one comes in.
I mean, yeah, man. Like we do.
It's like a holiday.
Like I said, we was grown. Like niggas had like I was like an adult at 13. I was like helping my mom with bills and shit. Like not that she couldn't do it on her own, but my mother sacrificed a lot. Like she could have been corporate. We probably could have had a better financial situation, but she chose to have jobs that were closer to me because she realized the influence that my neighborhood was having on me. So she was like, nah, I'm gonna give him my personal life. You feel me? Like,
was your father still active even after they separated?
That's my dog. Yeah, like, well, I don't even know if they are weird. I ain't putting their business out there, but yeah, they still date to this day. That's what I say.
They're like, we not married no more, but
right. There was a moment.
These parents are the same way.
My parents are divorced,
They're
but
divorced,
they still
but
live together.
with each other.
Yo,
it's
look,
the weirdest thing ever.
I'm paying for this shit right now. Look, I don't know if it doesn't get awkward because you be like, my daddy ain't shit, but he a good nigga. Like, but like as a relationship, I'm like, mama, what the fuck is you doing? The nigga just dipped for a few little bit, But one thing I will say about my pops, because I know I dog that nigga a lot because of certain things that happen between us. But like when you a child, that ain't your business. Your parents' situation ain't your business. Like I'm a big a big advocate of mind your shit.
That's good, easy to say, but it affects you.
It do, especially
So
my
you
pops.
can't
He was
help
a nigga.
that.
Yeah, he was. But he gave me that element in me that is now why I'm here with y'all. Because, like, if I was, like, nothing wrong with being a square. If you a square, you a square. But my father saw very early on that my interests were niche interests, which is like, oh, he likes anime and doing math and reading books. Like, he's going to be a target. So he took an active effort, my uncles and them, because they all with the bullshit, to put me in situations that were uncomfortable for someone who had my interests. So I had to learn how to fight. Like, I had to learn how to move.
Make sure they protect you the right way when they're not there.
Yeah, it was like, you're not gonna be fooled out here. So like, I was out here in these streets for real, mostly because my daddy was and even when he kind of like, he had his little moment where he had to go. What I'll call it is he had a sabbatical.
You had to sit down.
He had a sabbatical. Yeah, and you know, I was kind of out here by myself for a little bit, and you know, it was a necessary thing because it made me all those things that may have been toxic to some people in this modern day, because, you know, masculinity is going through a transformation. Those are the very things that kept me safe. Now I'm learning that those tools maybe don't work now when you're in a relationship with a woman now and you're trying to be communicative and shit. And you don't have to
protect yourself.
Yeah, protect yourself, protect her, and maybe you don't need to be out here like pressing every line, you feel me? Which is an everyday process for me. But those are still very valuable tools, and I appreciate him for that.
And I bet you could really tap into that when it comes to the roles you've been playing too.
Oh man, let me tell you. Yeah, it's
Like
different.
Snowfall and
It's so funny. I feel like I keep playing bitch ass niggas. I really do. I be feeling like, damn, my nigga, when am I gonna play somebody who real? Like, I like them as people, but they not solid like that. They too emotional.
Now, do you resent your dad at all?
Damn, y'all.
And the reason I asked
What
that
time is it, Envy?
Hey, look, it's early. And the reason I
God
asked
damn.
is because when you have kids and your kids start getting that age, you start thinking, damn, my dad did this because of this.
Exactly. So that's one of the things. Like, I had a lot of death, and I do not want to make this, you know,
That's all
Harry
right.
Potter, the boy who lived, everybody dead, but that's kind of true. Like, everybody in my building died before I was 15. Like, my boy Seb, like, everybody. So I had a lot of that. My grandmother, Pat, everybody. So I saw my father's relationship with his mother. I seen his relationship with his father, who wasn't there. It's not that. And then I found stories out later at funerals, because you go to a funeral and you find out, oh, grandma was out here. Like, it wasn't not my mom's mother. She's a saint. But my father's mom was like kind of a thug. Like, she raised 7 kids on her own, came from Shreveport, Louisiana, like she a hood. But she found Jesus later. So there was this whole period where she was, you know, a modern woman. And you find out, I thought that my dad's dad just wasn't there because he didn't want to be there. Turns out that wasn't the situation. Like, you know, it was kind of my grandma more so. And he gonna kill me for saying all this because it's nobody's business. But I had women like as divine feminine in my mind, because I was raised predominantly by my mother and her mother. So my grandma and my mom are like queens to me. So women couldn't do no wrong in my book for like the longest. You feel me? And I think that's unfair to women. I think men place an unrealistic expectation on females and relationships and who they supposed to be and what they supposed to do with their bodies and all that shit, which is why we be toxic, beat shit up, niggas be hiding under beds. I don't do that, but niggas do that. But to find out that sometimes it's not always the man's fault, and sometimes, just sometimes, you know, females make it a little hard on niggas, and then it's a little difficult. And that's not always. But that was that situation, and I never knew that. But then I thought, well, damn, how does that affect my father's relationship with women?
Right.
How does that affect my father's relationship with my mama, who is a goddamn saint to me? Which I found out later in life, that is also not true.
Right.
But she pretty damn close, actually. Like, because her brother was so out here, he was such an eponymous figure in street culture. My mother was like the object of like perfection. She never got in trouble at school. She transferred, went to the nice high school on the other side of town. Like, she made sure she went to school, like never gave my mama no trouble, never went to jail, nothing. So much so that when I got into trouble in these streets, like my mama wouldn't even come visit. Like, she just couldn't, the trauma. So I started to see my parents as people and not as what I think they should have been.
Right.
And our relationship now is way better.
Right.
Because I'm not mad at them no more. You feel me? Like,
You understand more.
yeah, I get it. You feel me?
dope.
And I also think that when you achieve certain things, you feel like you are where you're supposed to be, and experiences happen to you for a reason.
Exactly. Straight like that.
All right, so let's get into this work part of it, because now
the
that we
work.
know who you are and your background. So let's talk about, at 17 years old, you were a big deal already.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes, I was. For a moment. I thought I was, but it wasn't it wasn't really what you think it is. Because niggas don't give a fuck about, the people who I care about do not read the New York Times.
Right.
So like, I was big to like, you know, the Caucasian people, but it wasn't.
And the hood, they're like, wow.
So tell us about this movie that you decided that you wanted to do.
It was a movie called Trouble. I was 15 years old actually when I wrote it, and You know, it was about, I had lost my friend Marcel, Cell Block, rest in peace. He had been murdered by a Latino gang called 18th Street in Los Angeles. They were a prominent street gang at the time. And my neighborhood at the time was Baldwin Village. Baldwin Village is the jungles. If you've seen Training Day, that part where Denzel's like, King Kong ain't got nothing on me. That shit, yo, that's the jungles. All them niggas standing outside, that is not a movie, that is real life.
That's where you grew up.
Yeah, that's my neighborhood, or at least like for the most part of my youth. And so what ended up happening was we got into it with a large third world gang. And it was kind of the first time that in our generation that a local domestic hood, which was, our hood's very small but very mighty. And then you mentioned the jungles, it's like strikes fear in the heart of man type shit. And we got into it with the largest kind of street gang at the time, which was 18th Street, because they're an extension of a larger drug cartel. But we didn't know. We just niggas. So like we just beefing, and they had literally eliminated a whole hood called Gear Gang on the other side of town, but they was Crips, so we didn't give a fuck. Which shows you why unity is important amongst all people, because once they got rid of them, they moved territory, and we were there. Our hood got raided, so all the OGs went down, so all you had was a bunch of young niggas, and we were fighting these grown ass men. And at the time in jail, there was kind of a thing put down by I don't even know if I should be mentioning this shit too deep, but like there's a Latino faction in prison that run shit, and they sent shit down to the streets that if you wanted to be initiated into a certain gang, you had to kill a black youth with a white t-shirt. It was like a thing. God. And so that was the initiation process. So it just made it like really tough, because it was just young kids out here fighting with like grown men, hardened prisoners, and we was out here riding, and we got decimated, you feel me? And we actually didn't get decimated. Actually, we stood our own, but we lost a lot of people, which is why my hood is so like, I'm wearing one of my homies right now. Like we really care about each other. It's really a village. So nobody was talking about it. I would go to other places. My mom spent her last dollar to put me in certain programs and shit. So I'd be next to the Asian community, the white community, north of the 10 freeway, which is a dividing line in itself. It's almost like segregation in its own way, until gentrification, of course. But it was so fucked up that they didn't know. I was walking around traumatized at 15, didn't even know. It was like I was PTSD, losing homies every other day. Right. And so I wrote. I did the only thing I knew how to do, you know, because we were fighting a losing battle. I created, I talked about it, and I tried to get the movie made about my experience, because one of the other things that I realized was the Latino and black community, we grew up together. So I didn't understand. It didn't make sense why what was going on. And by the way, like, my hood would be pissed at me for saying that I wish we would have extended empathy on both sides, because the blood feud runs so deep. Right. They was killing kids. We was finding bodies in dumpsters. It was like that. It was like Sicario. But we had never faced nobody with that level of ruthlessness on the west side, because East is different than West in LA. So it was crazy, and we really held it down, you feel me? But it was so bad and nobody was talking about it. I was like, I gotta make a movie. So I did, about my pain and about my homeboys and all that, because everybody in our building had pretty much died. And somebody caught wind of it, and you know, that was the first feature I did, and I just did it on my own, like applied to Panavision, won a grant. They thought I was in college. I was in high school. I won a student grant, took it, shot it on Super 16, because I'm a film nerd. And Sony Pictures, I was already working there, so they helped me out. They gave me like Hancock, I think was the movie at the time, the big movie for the studio. So they would take my film and develop it under Will Smith Company, like, because everybody on set knew me as like the kid that was walking around the studio trying to get his little movie made, and they all really kind of like loved me. So they hooked it up, and a lot of people helped me, man. A lot of people helped me, and I made that shit. That's so
interesting that to be exposed to that type of environment, how it can really change your whole life. Like, just to be able to be in those spaces and meet the right people, because there's so many talented kids that could be in the hood, but they don't even have that type of exposure. Nah,
man. Yeah, like that's, you realize like I said this the other day to somebody, because I be talking shit about niggas because I think they trash out here. But I was like, yo, like, at best you're a vessel, right? At best you're here to be something for something else. At worst, you an accident. And a lot of niggas accidents out here walking around like they really the shit. And I know a nigga right now on a corner who is better at everything I love to do and have dedicated my life to do and got paid massive amounts of money to do, 10 times better than me. And he on a block right now. Can't get right. Mama didn't give a fuck. Actually, CK Romeo, Rabbi Dawood, that's why I'm wearing him right now. He was my big homie. He's from 20s though. And he was like smarter than me, fresher than me, understood Italian fashion, could beat a nigga up, was a mythology in my hood for skull dragging niggas from the park back to, like, but he was honorable. Like, he only did shit when it had to be done. He was so dope, protected people, helped me, like, murder gang, all that. Spent most of his life in and out of prison, but was brilliant, like a hood savant, which people thought I was. but he was who I idolized.
Mm-hmm.
He died of MS last year at like 32. And I felt so bad because I'm like, this nigga was brilliant. I mean, the way he wrote was brilliant because, you know, jail niggas all write really well. Like, they all really good with letters and penmanship. Like, that's the last best.
And they draw, like, nice artwork on the envelope.
And they leave, like, they're really fucking, like, wonderful laureates. But he was brilliant, like, understood physics, all that shit. Like, but he was just a super hood-ass nigga. And, like, his brothers was from East Side. His mama was, you know, crackhead. Like, he just didn't have no shot. Like, there was no shot for him. And I remember feeling like, damn, when we get on, bro, I'm putting you up. Like, you gonna be the one that I'm like, y'all think I'm special? Y'all think I'm dope? Y'all think I'm fly? I'm smooth? This man was wearing Dickies, white tee, red rag, really pressing his line in the halls, in prison, YA, wherever we went. But also knew Heidi Schleiman's collection. That's a real thing.
Right.
That's a real thing. He put me on like architecture and shit. Like, you see this shit, he'd have that at his crib in the hood. And that let me know that sometimes it's just the cars don't fall right for you. So how, you know,
there's people who have all these opportunities and get so much and aren't even talented, and you like, it's just because of who you know, or
That's right.
Speak on it. It's too early to be preaching, but you got it, sis.
Now, how did you get to raising Kanan? How did that happen?
But before that was Snowfall.
Snowfall was the thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Snowfall first.
Yeah.
Snowfall was, me and Johnny got into it when I was like 18, so we didn't speak for like 2-3 years.
You and who?
You and John. Why did y'all get
Singleton.
into it?
Because at the time, you know, I have daddy issues, he had son issues, and we connected. Like, I was the son, he kind of like, he looked at me like a son figure, and at the time I think he was getting into it with his son, which, by the way, his son's an awesome person. And my pops, we had our issues, so we kind of like.
He was like a father figure to you.
He was, period. And I never told him that, which really sucks, but it was what it was. And he thought he could tell me what to do, but I was already a fully developed human being by 16. We had already been through war. So I was like, I want to study economics. I'm already at my film school that he had petitioned for me to go to USC Film School. And which is a big deal. Like, John Singleton takes you up to meet Elizabeth Dean daily. Like, nigga, and I was kind of like, I don't want to take no film courses. The screenwriter 101, nigga, I've already been a Telluride. I've already I've cut the checks of some of my screenwriting teachers. I'm the one arbitrating the checks. Like, I've already seen Lenote, nigga. I've already seen, you know, I know Fellini. I know all this. And these kids just getting here because they Steven Spielberg cousin. Like, I don't want to be here. I don't like these niggas. I don't kick it with these niggas. What am I doing here? I want to study some shit I don't know. So I go over to the Marshall School of Business and survey like the economics classes. And I was like, oh, business, like, this makes more sense for me because I know this other shit. I don't know this. I don't know why we don't have access to resources. Why we not behind the camera?
Smart.
Why? You feel me? But John is like, nigga, I didn't raise all this money for you to go to fucking business school. Like, I did this for you to go to film school because that's how he did it. And so we used to butt heads, but he was really a hood nigga. So, like, we got physical about it. Like, because, like, nigga, you ain't my dad.
Y'all moved some furniture around.
Right, we moved some furniture around.
But it was all with the best intentions.
Yeah, he
which
loved
is
me.
crazy.
He loved me.
Who won, though?
We ain't go. Come on, Envy. That man's not here.
John won then. Go ahead. That's the story we sticking with. John
You know what?
won.
Fuck it. Yeah, why not? Yeah, John won. But yeah, at the end of the day, we got into it. So there was a 2-year gap. So I was just out here still building, doing shit. And Kim Harden, who's his like long-term casting director, got wind of me. She didn't know that I knew John. And she was like, you know, there's this show. She didn't want to meet me, but when she did, she was like, I think you'd be perfect for the lead of the show. I'm like, what show? She's like, it's about LA, Snowfall, whoop, whoop. I was like, oh, for sure. And I was fresh out of doing a little bit or whatever. Like, so.
Since you was fresh out of doing a bid?
I went to jail for a little bit. So it doesn't matter. The point is I got out and I should not have said that.
How much time? I'm just curious.
No. I didn't get charged.
Okay, good.
Like, well, technically, because you know how it is, you got to get indicted. But like in LA, if you ain't got no bail money, like you sitting down.
You sitting down.
Right. So I sat down. And I ended up coming home, and I did end up beating my shit, but that is not what we talking about. So,
okay, go ahead.
So I came home. I was kind of like looking a little, you know.
You need to write a movie on your life too.
Nah, man, somebody else got to do that. Like,
go ahead.
The focus is I was really still kind of there, and she was like, oh my God, like, you know, you're really talented, and you lived it. I think this show would be perfect for you.
And it was never your intent to act.
No, I always wanted to be in art.
Right.
Always wanted to do art. I didn't know how I was gonna do it, but I knew I was like I just like doing it. But acting was always on the table. So I had actually been in Southpaw before Snowfall. So I was with Forrest Whitaker and like all these big actors. So she had seen me in that. She was like, okay, I'll meet with him. Met with her. She's like, this is perfect for you. This show. It's John Singleton. I was like, oh shit. But I didn't want to tell her that like me and him had got into it because we had spoken, and she had started to really fuck with me. So I was like, I'm gonna just go to audition and do what I do. But like I told you, I had been in for a second, so I was looking like different. You know, he had known me as a little boy. So when we were in the elevator, and people don't know this, but John like had a little eyesight issue sometimes. So we were sitting in the elevator going down to the audition. He didn't even recognize it was me. He's like, "Oh, you going to the audition?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Good luck, man." And he walked out the elevator. I'm like, this nigga did not realize it was me. I get in the audition. I do the audition. There's like 6 people in there. And I was originally reading for Franklin. And niggas was crying in the audition, all types of shit. And midway through my audition, through the tape, he takes his glasses off and he goes, "Malcolm, nigga, this my son. This my you so fucking good. I didn't know you was this good." Like he's such a real person. He literally in the middle of the audition goes up, and Kim Harden's like, "What the fuck is going on?" And so immediately,
so they really thought it was something. Like, you got another son?
Because he
You
got
didn't even
7
recognize
kids.
him at first.
He got 7 kids. Between him, Eddie Griffin, and Nick Cannon, you fucked. No, but like he was like really like excited because it was a great audition, and so he really got excited. So that's how I ended up kind of continuing that process, and that was a dense
That's
process.
interesting. You could have been
dope.
Franklin.
Yeah, man. A lot of me, Kofi Siriboe. I think we were the closest outside of Dempsey, and it's fucked up because then they cast us all together as homies in the first pilot.
Right.
Kofi's actually in the first pilot.
Oh, damn.
Oh, wow.
And Lauren London.
He did. Oh, yeah, I remember hearing that because
D-Ray was
D-Ray
the uncle.
Davis, yeah.
Yeah, he's who I screen tested with originally, was with Lauren and D-Ray.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, what about Raising Kanan? How'd you get there? Who reached out?
Nobody, actually. I just honestly, I didn't want to do the shit.
Why not?
I ain't fuck with Power at first, nigga.
Really?
Yeah. 50's really annoying sometimes. Like, Blood is a good nigga. Like, he really a good nigga, but like, he just kind of like annoying. So when we were shooting Southpaw, it was his first, Power was just about to premiere. Mm-hmm. So he was like treating it like he treats Branson cognac right now. Like, he like, you see Power yet? It comes out tonight. It's coming out tonight. So everybody you're watching in the hotels, if you don't got the hotel, I'll get you the subscription. He's pressing you. And I remember sitting up in the hotel, first 5 minutes, I was like, oh, nigga, these kids don't look like these parents. What the fuck? This nigga killing somebody in the back of the club, live club. This don't make no sense to me. I'm a real street nigga, so I'm like, this doesn't add up. I'm good, right? So the next morning, he presses me. We on set. He's like, you watch Power? I'm like, yeah, I seen it. He's like, what you think? I'm like, I ain't get through the first 5 minutes. Come in.
I want you to know he talking like 50 right now. I don't know if you know this, but
He's like,
his really mouth.
he's like, come in. I was like, come in. He travels with a whole bus. So not just the trailer, he has a whole bus that has a whole studio. He forced me to watch the whole motherfucking first episode of Power in his fucking we on set. We shooting. He stopped, come here, and forced me to watch the first episode of Power next to him. And I was just sitting there like, nigga, I do not like this shit. It is soap opera-y. I'm like a art nigga, so I'm like, this is whatever. But I know niggas gonna like it because my grandma used to love stories. And this basically was stories with drugs and sex, which is brilliant on behalf of Courtney. Like, this is a nighttime soap with violence and nipples. So I knew it was gonna work, but he's like, what do you think? I said, this ain't my personal shit. He's like, it's gonna work. And he was adamant about it. He's like, nigga, it's gonna work.
He was right.
He was correct. That's 50B. And so I never really like kept up with it. I didn't stay on it. It wasn't my vibe. And they told me that they was doing this third one, and I was like, I don't know. Like, I kind of want to do like weird shit, I want to be with Denis Villeneuve and shit. I want to do Dune, nigga. That's what I want to do. And they're like, you just got with your agency, man. Just kind of like, give them a bone. Go there. So I'm like, I'm not auditioning 5 times. Nigga, I'll do one. And if they fuck with me, they do. If they don't, they don't. I went, did one audition. And everybody else there was on their like second, third, fourth, fifth audition. I did one in a room full of like 5, 6 people. And before I even got off the lot, they was calling like, is he available? Can he do this? And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I got to see the script. Who in it? And the showrunner, Sasha Penn, to his credit, called me. He didn't have to. He called me and said, this is not going to be like the other Powers. This is going to be a little different.
Right.
I said, what you mean different? He said, who are your favorite filmmakers? I said, oh, like Francis Ford Coppola, Tarkovsky, shit like that. And he's like, well, this is going to be the Black Godfather. And I said, okay, well, who in it? He like, Patina Miller. I was like, oh, I'm in. I'm in. Patina who?
She does great.
Patina who? Because I used to come to New York with my homeboy Tristan, and he would take me to like Broadway and shit. So I saw Patina Miller on Broadway, and I was like, this woman is amazing. And now she gonna tell. I'm like, oh, this got to be different if she doing it. And then I said, but I have one thing though, one request, which Power don't give a fuck. I was like, I'm not doing it unless I can read the script. It's in New York. My mother and my grandmother are like L.A. I'm the only patriarch. I'm the patriarch of my family currently, so I can't be away from them like that. Like, there's only me and my family. It's mostly a matriarchy. So I take care of everybody. I don't want to be away from them. So if I'm going to New York, I need to make sure I can be able to get them out there. I need some tickets for them to be able to come or me to come back. And I need to be able to read the first pilot. I thought they was going to be like, fuck you. They let me read
demands,
it.
right.
They let me read it. I'm just trying to make reasons not to go, right? I'm like, and I want Pellegrino every day on set.
Pellegrino every set.
I want champagne, you know, feel me?
You know, you don't ask, you don't get. Did you read for the character Lulu? Was that the character?
That's the only thing. I did one audition. It's the first time in my life. Usually, like, I've auditioned 16 times, even for Snowfall.
So what did you think when you read the whole pilot and read everything?
I was like, oh, this could be, I felt like it was soil. I was like,
was you familiar with that era though?
Oh yeah, like, but you know, I'm a nerd, like I'm a hip hop nerd, so I'm thinking, oh, Queens, like, oh, this is the Bridge is Over right here. This is like, or at least he grew up on the Bridge is Over, and now he's to play a character that was a child of hip hop, who grew up when hip hop was being created, who was really gonna go to those cookouts. He probably, like, Nas at the cookout is probably after he had already been participating. Like Nas probably knew him as a local dope dealer and was like, that's my inspiration. At least that's what I played in my head, was that. That's why the character sometimes has a very similar aura, because I was like, they emulated the dope boys of the time. How we idolize gangsters, they idolize D-boys.
Right.
So I figured, let me make the mythology of a man that would inspire the music that these kids will one day make. So that's how I kind of came up with Lulu. And so I was very in tune with the time, and then sociopolitically, it's fucking, you know, a very, very tumultuous time in Black history. So I was like really fucking with it, man. And I love the 90s, so I was in here.
Had you been in New York a lot before that?
Yeah, I've been in New York a lot. I've been coming here since I was like 11, something like that. Yeah, I have some people out here.
And what's your relationship with Fifth now?
Fifth? That nigga called me, bugging me yesterday, like, not yesterday, like last week. I had fucked up and done some shit I had no business. I can't speak on it on here, but I did some bullshit. He called me and talked to me for 5 hours, telling me I was, but then he'll berate you, but then he'll go into like inspirational, like, he like an old man sometimes. Like, he'll talk about a whole swath of shit. You be like, God damn,
bro. It goes everywhere with Fifth. You be like,
right,
yeah.
And you learn shit too. You be like,
Absolutely.
Damn, nigga, that's interesting. But I gotta use the restroom. I'm hungry. The fuck is going on? Yeah, but he's Fifth is cool, man. Fifth pulls up when he pull up. When he shows up, he's all the way there. When he not, he a ghost. No pun intended.
Now you've also been writing even more, and you're doing a New Jack City sequel.
Yeah, man. I wish your boy Charlamagne was here. I was gonna press his line.
Why?
Cause I got beef with that nigga. Man.
Why? We all do, but why?
I got beef with bruh. He fucking, I think he donkey of the day'd the remake announcement for New Jack City 2. I got the New Jack City 2 thing. I was like in my early 20s, one of my biggest screenwriting, you know, announcements. Like, I'm a young nigga from the city and they gave me New Jack City. You know what I'm saying? But he kept on purporting that it was a remake and he was giving it the blues. And I was like, blood, stop saying that. It's a fucking sequel.
Right.
So I'm here today to tell everybody who gave me a hard time, it's not a remake. It is a sequel.
I do vaguely remember him talking about that. Right.
Yeah.
So it's set today, in modern day.
Yeah, it's a modern day. Like, I wrote the lead part for Zendaya and shit. Like, it's lit. Like, it's.
So who's in it? So what's the premise of it? Cause you talking,
Envy you good. Envy you good. Envy you good. Envy gonna give me fire, nigga.
Give us a little bit.
I already wrote it, so it doesn't matter. Right. But fuck it. Hey, if Warner's calls me, whatever, what they gonna do? Sue me, nigga?
I'm with you.
So. The way
don't sue me, but I'm
no, they're gonna sue me, right?
Sue you. I'm back.
No,
but
sorry, Naja, don't be mad at me. So the way I said it is that it's the appropriate amount of time after. It's now, and after you see where everybody has what's kind of happened to everybody through the lens of a new set of characters, and it starts with I don't even know if I can do this, man. I don't know if I can.
Give us a little bit. Come on, Malcolm.
I'll put it like this. This is the tagline that I used to use. He says, Nino was trying to New Jack a city. I'm trying to trap the world. And it takes place with like international, like Russia, south of France. I put people of color internationally, trading, health. There's a lot of like the health industry.
Okay.
So drug dealing, more than just drug dealing, it's like drug dealing. How
so
the white people.
Oh, I get it.
You feel what I'm saying? Like,
and I'm not based in New York anymore, huh?
It is.
Oh, it is.
Because there's a lot of venture capital in New York, right? I mean, and these health industries are funded and by.
Do we play to those other characters that were there before?
Everybody back. I bought. No, well, he blood gone, but he's in there in a way. I put everybody back. I brought everybody back just because I wanted to meet everybody.
Now, what about Christopher Williams? Cause y'all be doing my light-skinned brothers dirty, man. Yeah, y'all be doing that. Fuck that light-skinned ass nigga.
Because Chris was a snitch ass nigga.
He was a banker.
He was a snitch
You
ass
gotta have
nigga.
a light-skinned dude in there that's good. G Money, somebody light-skinned gotta do good. Cause y'all did my light-skinned brothers.
Well, the lead is light skinned. This is what I'll give you, and I'm not supposed to.
light-skinned.
The lead is light skinned. The lead is a light skinned woman.
You got one, Envy.
I got one. We back.
I wrote it with Zendaya in mind, so it's Ice-T's daughter is the lead.
Dope.
Okay. Oh wow, really?
Dope.
And
I
she's
can't
a
wait- I
federal
can't wait to
agent.
see that.
So that's Zendaya.
There's Zendaya. I did. I wanted. If you hear this, Z, you're
Please.
talented,
You're like, please.
young lady, and we want you to be that.
Were you
but
a
that's
New
what
Jack
it
City fan? Did you like?
is. Nigga, like, here's the thing about New Jack City. When you grow up, it's the greatest thing on the planet. You watching it, you're like, this is crazy.
I just watched it like last week.
And you like,
oddly enough.
and you like, I want to kill you so bad, my dick is hard. What the fuck was this? It's like when you re-listen to Biggie talking about like, you so fine, I'll suck your daddy dick. You're like, what is going on
You
with
rapped
the?
it before, but then when you think about it, you be like,
What's up with?
It's
I mean,
different. It's different when you look at it now.
Cause,
Right.
and not even because, if that's what you want to do, that's your vibe. I ain't tripping. I support everybody. My homies is all that. But the toxic, like the level of homophobia that was in hip hop culture
Was
wild. So to have so many homoerotic comments in hip hop staples is so like backwards to me. Cause I'm like, why you hard at wanting to kill this nigga? It's a gun. It's phallic. It already looked like a dick. Like, what's going on?
Right.
But when you look back at the movie, yes, certain things do not hold. But overall, as an experience,
The whole premise, yeah.
he did something that was revolutionary. Shout out to fucking Mario. He directed an episode of Power that is actually like my favorite episode right now. 2, 8, and 10 are like the best episodes to me. And he directed episode 2, Mario Van Peebles, and we brought him back. So there was a New Jack City reference, and I had to tell him I was writing New Jack City too, and he was so like loving and supportive, and he's such a good director. He's such a good like giving dude.
I can't wait to see it. The only thing with the sequels is like, and no disrespect to anybody,
That's
I'm
when
a
you know he's about to say something
huge
disrespectful.
Coming to America fan, right?
Oh no, that shit was. Can I? Nigga, fuck it. That shit was weak, bro. On my mama. Eddie's a legend.
Mama, I told you.
Eddie's a legend.
He's a legend.
But come on, let's call a spade, my nigga. Like, what the fuck going on? But you know what? I'm not big enough to talk shit yet, Envy.
I didn't talk about it until it came out because I was like, you know what? I don't want to
Discourage people from watching.
seeing. I want to support.
I'ma keep
But
it a
then after,
buck.
I'm like, I know every line from Coming to America. Like I know every line from
Shit
New
was
Jack
weak.
City. So you can't mess this up, bro.
Look, I love Kenya, so no disrespect. I fuck with you. Niggas get they bag how they get they bag. I love Eddie. I love everybody in there. It's black. Wesley was in there. It's dope. But my thing is like there was such a high bar. And if we gonna pretend like we hit it, like, nah, bro, I'm not doing that. Shit didn't hit what it did. I watched it 5 times because I
Okay,
support
you still
everything
support it,
black.
right.
Yeah, I'ma still go
Did
pay.
it get better like by the 5th time for you?
All I'ma say is I like working, my nigga, and I ain't that nigga yet. So like a lot of things I can't say because I want to. It's not about me. Like I take care of other people. If it was just me, I wouldn't give a fuck. And honestly, I probly will still say the shit anyway because I really don't give a fuck.
I hate that we're gonna have to censor this interview so much.
Oh shit,
no,
my
this dude
bad.
Cursing on my
Damn.
Oh shit. Oh my god.
Oh, I'm so
Nah,
sorry.
but people they'll get the dirty online. It's all
Oh, okay,
good. It's
cool.
all
Yeah,
good.
my bad. I apologize. But yeah, I'm with you. Like sequels are a tough thing, but as much shit as people talk about sequels, it's like y'all watch them, y'all consume it. If y'all would go consume, if the public would choose something else, and if they were promoted something else, of course, it's not fully their fault. Then they would. The industry now, it's not about racism, it's classism. It's the dollar. So if y'all go invest in something else, they gonna go do that. If y'all don't want to see sequels no more, don't go. But
I wasn't mad at Bad
People
Boy
feel
sequel.
very
though. I wasn't mad at
nostalgic,
Bad Boy
though.
sequel.
that's Adil and Bilal. They did the first episode of Snowfall.
I wasn't mad at Bad Boy sequel. I actually enjoyed it.
They did. But Adil and Bilal, they're like, I think they're Moroccan I think they're Moroccan or Arabic, but they're people of color, and they're dope. They from the indie film scene. They got popping on the indie film scene, and then they did that, and they did Snowfall first,
Right.
which is dope. So like they really cool. Like they really like love the medium of film. So it was different. They tried to redo some shit.
Now you also wrote about Flint, right?
Yeah,
Did
Flint,
you?
Michigan. That was one of
Okay.
my first specs. Yeah.
So talk to me about that.
I basically tried to do Chinatown with Flint, Michigan, because it was very similar to me. The issue of water, the issue of like a mystery, the issue of like a thriller, of uncovering essentially a corporate greed and just government dissonance. Like it was basically, to me, it was a government genocide. So I think they call it democide or something like that. It's like when the government murders people, and that's what happened, man.
Right.
There's no getting around it. A government body decided to save a buck and it hurt an entire community of people, and they never said nothing, and then they pretended like they didn't know what the fuck was going on. And of course, and I wrote this, it's funny, it's kind of prophetic, because in the movie I reveal the truth of what happened, because I went to Flint. I didn't go to Flint trying to write a movie. I went because I just wanted to help on some regular shit. Ended up staying because I connected with the Flint niggas. Now they all rappers and famous, but they was like street niggas for real, so we connected. But everybody in the town knew what happened. They were like, oh yeah, everybody works at the plant. GM started giving out bottled water at some point. This is 6 months before anything had hit, anything started being weird, kids getting sick. Before that, they had stopped using the water in the plant. And then they got a pass to use to redirect where they were getting their water from the government, because the water was corroding and doing weird shit. So like it was and everybody knew. Everybody knew. Everybody knew. So it wasn't a mystery to anybody but us. And so I thought that was really interesting. And what if you had somebody from the neighborhood who's of the neighborhood who stumbled upon all this information and made it his business to do something about it? So I wrote that as a spec, right? I wrote it just kind of like as a fantastical, surreal take on what happened. And it ended up being the thing that started getting me hired. I was like 23, 24 when I wrote it. And then, Hollywood started hiring me to write shit.
Wow. Got a lot going on, brother, man.
I know. It's like too much to even talk about. And then the biopic that you have, right, as well?
The biopic. Oh, Mike Brown? Oh, that's Warner's, man. They be locking shit up, man.
Well, no, I thought it was a slave-turned-politician.
Oh, that's the Amazon movie. Shit, sorry.
See, oh, my God.
So much
crazy.
That's the nigga. Like, no, that's actually dope. Charles Burnett, one of the classic filmmakers of all time. He did Killer of Sheep. It's a great art house piece. He's getting to do his first major motion picture, and that's Amazon Studios, and it's called Robert Smalls. It's about this slave. He was 22 years old, bro. It's not really a slave movie. I hate slave movies, like in the context that we are in now. I love certain ones, but now it just seems a little dated. But this story's dope, and I decided to do it, A, because of Charles, and B, because he was this 22-year-old dude who was not operating like a slave. He was a wheelman on a whole ship. He had a wife and a kid, and they had their own place. Like in Charleston at the time, there were free blacks living amongst enslaved blacks and white people. And we've never seen that on screen, where there were people who had freed themselves, like paid for their freedom back, and were living amongst everybody in this port city. And he was this young nigga who kind of wanted freedom and was already kind of living a pseudo-free life. And the Confederacy was now getting into war with the Union. So he had to get out of there because he was having a kid and he had whatever. And so he stole the ship that he was working on and saved like 22 other people. Wow. Like at 22 years old. Damn. Like, and took the ship with like a bunch of like guns and a bunch of Union Army items, brought it over to the Union. Like he became a naval captain over at the Union, ended up being like the first black man in Congress, House of Representatives, bought back this house, the slave plantation house that he grew up in as a kid. He bought the shit back. I was like, this nigga's a gangster.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, he hard.
That's the type of movie that make you feel like, see?
Yeah, see, look, he wasn't just yes a massa.
You can put us in whatever situation and we gonna come out on top.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, oh, it's not just a slave movie, it's a heist movie, you know? So that's the movie I'm writing right now.
Wow. All right. Is there anything else we should know about?
There's a bunch of shit, but I feel like
coming back, man. He coming back.
I feel like we need a part
two. Get back up here, man.
We didn't even get to talk about Raising Kanan enough because, you know, I watched first of all, I'm mad that you didn't like Power at first because, you know, I watched all of them, the spin-offs, all of that. But I appreciate that you know, have joined the cast. I don't know how much. I haven't seen the past 2 episodes yet.
What are you doing? You tripping? You haven't seen 5?
I've been working a lot. I saw 1 through 3. Yeah, I got to get back on it.
I'm gonna this weekend. I'm back on.
That's why I want to ask you. I'm like, are you still gonna be doing what you're doing still? But
well, you need to watch 5. Watch 5. Y'all have to watch 5, and then keep watching until 8, and then you're gonna want to 10. It's crazy. 5 is crazy.
Catch back on. And you know, I'm from Queens, so it's like to see it. It's reliving it. So
I love it. You saw the premiere. I saw you at the premiere walking with somebody, and I was like, "Oh shit! Like that's Andy."
Oh shit! Who you was with?
His wife, probably.
Are you sure?
No, I was with Mercedes. I was with my assistant.
Oh, okay. I was like,
yeah, my assistant.
Yeah, no.
Why you trying to play him and catch him out there?
I didn't know.
I saw you with somebody. I don't know.
I don't know who it could have been a man. I don't know. Wow, they trying to do my nigga like, damn, sis. She like it's too early for this. No, but I seen you walk out. I didn't know how you felt about it because you walked out pretty fast. I was like, let me. Nigga gonna say about this.
Now I had to go do a show, but that's why I got out of there so fast. But now I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm always amazed, and they always laugh about me when I say that. The fact that when they shoot these movies, I call them period pieces, that they find all the stuff from that era. Whether it's the beepers, the cell phones, the cars, the house on the inside look like they're from that era. Like it's always strange to me that they find all this ish.
Hands down, this is one of the best shows on television. Like everybody, even Frank who does the clothes, like, and he's done all of Power's clothing, but Frank was in his bag. You feel me? And like actually the
polo
whole
stuff.
time.
You're very,
Yeah.
you're
All
very
that stuff.
ruthless on there too.
Oh, me?
You've done some things.
Yeah. He is sometimes. It's weird. Lulu's a weird guy, man.
But he also don't feel like he want to do it. Like,
That's the problem. That's the problem. Like, cause when you in this, you can't half step, and he half stepping, which I guess is more interesting. But yeah, he's got some issues, and like he wants to, you know.
I hope you last longer than you did on Snowfall, man.
Man, I hope so too. And by the way, let me also say this about Power, and this is real shit. When I had to go revisit Power because I was on the show, I was like, oh damn, I have to sit through all these fucking, who's your daddy type shit. Like, oh, somebody's a dad, somebody's like, like, you know. And I said by second season, no, actually by third season, I found myself getting emotional watching this shit with between Angela and Ghost.
Yeah.
I found myself getting emotional. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why is this shit affecting me? And that's when I noticed I realized, and I have to acknowledge the brilliance of Courtney Kemp, because the plotting is so well done. Even the first, like the plotting is excellent. You feel me? And I was like, oh, she know how to keep you on the hook. Like you keep going, and then you, by the time you realize, oh shit, I'm
You're
involved.
invested.
Yeah, like I'm
You're
invested.
Because
Like,
the truth is, it's a world where you don't know who you can trust.
Hell
You
yeah.
can't even
And
trust your own child
I was
or your own parents.
Yo, explain that to me. Like how the fuck did we end up with like this is the thing that fucks me up, because I wasn't in it when everybody was in it. I wasn't a part of everybody loving it. So now on the back end, I'm looking at it like, Ghost just didn't want to sell drugs. Like, that's it.
Right.
This whole show was
I just
about.
want to go legit, because that's
Trying
the
to go
goal.
legit.
I think when you are a drug dealer, you want to eventually take that money and go legit and not have to sell drugs anymore.
Well, how much money did they make? It was in, what was it? They had a big ass fucking.
Big ass
But
nightclub. big ass
there was
everything.
just too many reasons why he couldn't get out. They would not let him.
I was like, but it was so
he
much.
wanted to. He could have.
I never knew how much money they made.
And then he wanted to become a politician.
Bro, I'm like, let this man. Like, he literally told her, and everybody be on his head, like, oh, and look, bro is weak. Like Ghost be doing such shit. Let's just call it what it is. The niggas be doing such shit. But there was a moment where he was just like, I remember before he started fucking Angela, before he came to his wife, like, love, like, I don't want to do this no more. Like, and she was like,
Right.
shut up, go get them drugs. And he was like, bitch, change your shoes. Like, that's what happened. Like, he was like,
It's like that.
He was like, and then
Well, he shouldn't have killed the driver then, because then his wife would have been occupied.
that's so toxic. First of all, wasn't she
That's
mad?
what you got out of it? That's what you got out of it?
Look, and I'm not bashing nobody, but
Let
the
me do
reality
me.
is, before he even started fucking old girl, she was already jacking off in the car to the driver. She was already masturbating in the car. She saw him talking to someone, and she was like, I'm busting it open. And I was like, this show is toxic. Y'all toxic as fuck.
But as we know, real life is toxic.
Oh my God. This your show, huh?
I'm just saying. Oh, it's my parking.
Well, Malcolm, we
Parking.
appreciate you for joining us, man.
So I don't get a ticket.
You're always invited up here, man. Malcolm Mays,
Appreciate
writer,
y'all.
And listen,
actor.
and I do have to say, we do appreciate you. I know
Yes.
it's a difficult time, but the fact that you still came up here and, you know, did such an amazing interview, and that we are going to have you back to
shit.
support everything that you have going on, but we appreciate that.
Man, I appreciate y'all, man. You know, shout out to T. Rogers, shout out to the family. Love y'all, man. Appreciate y'all.
Now, the reason I want you back is I really want to see you and Charlamagne move some furniture over there, because you said
Oh,
you're going to press him next time you come, so.
Nah, it was
He going to press you, son.
Nah, he cool though, man. He know my nigga glasses. He a good person.
It's Malcolm Mays. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
All right, peace, y'all.